Are you ready? The Kornelia Stephanie Show. Wake up to love, your call to action. Join Kornelia as she empowers others to live heaven on earth. Kornelia teaches listeners how to be the authority over yourself, embracing your inner guru. Feel yourself uplifted into limitless expansion, integrating ease and grace in a changing world. This show will cover topics such as unconditional love, your physical body, how to be in extraordinary relationships, create financial and emotional wealth, embracing entrepreneurship in the new earth. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Kornelia Stephanie Show. It's Friday, and we have our stories of hope today. I can't wait to introduce you to our first guest, Carmen Leal. She didn't know about rescuing dogs. Okay, she knew nothing about it, but despite her complete lack of research, she ended up adopting her tail-wagging friend who was and continues to be perfect for her. Carmen relocated from Hawaii to Oshkosh. Yes, there's a story behind that move. She's the author of 12 books, including I Choose You, Imperfectly Perfect Rescue Dogs and Their Humans, and many articles, devotionals, and human interest stories. After she suffered a traumatic brain injury, Carmen adopted Coconut, the dog who not only saved her life, but gave her a purpose and a way to use a lifetime of experience and passion. Over the course of 4 years, Carmen used her marketing expertise to rebrand an independent rescue shelter, which rescued writing dog bios, grants, fundraising events, and other projects, which led to the rescue and adoption of 6,500 dogs. There's so much more to this lady. Let me bring her on. Carmen Leal, welcome to the Kornelia Stephanie Show.
Thank you. 2 things. You're so gorgeous. And I love your voice. I love your pacing. I love your tempo. We're going to have fun. And you look great in purple.
Purple is one of my colors. Thank you.
I can tell. It shares. Yeah, it shows.
Thank
Okay.
you.
Thanks for having me.
My gosh. So, we were meeting in the green room before you came on, and we were talking about your journey and part of what you wanted to highlight today, what got you to the place of where you are now. There's a huge backstory, but what got you to the place of where you are now? You were basically, tell me about when your son was telling you about he's moving, and how did that happen?
Well, first of all, I love your intro because that embodies me. Every adjective you said was like, yep, that's me. So I just celebrated a big birthday, which means I have a big life. I am so
wow, and you look amazing.
Yes,
happy birthday.
Thank you. And so my son went to college in Wisconsin. Long story, long reason why it happened. And he joined the military, and then he met the college girlfriend, and they moved to Wisconsin. Didn't bother me one bit because I was happy at home in Hawaii. That's where my kids were born and raised. And I was going to die in Hawaii after having this tumultuous life. If I never left, that was okay. People would say, oh, but what when you have grandkids? I said, you can dip those grandbabies in gold. I'd never move off Hawaii. That's how committed I was to my life. But life has a way of happening. Twists and turns that happen you never expected. And I had had lots of them over the years. And this one was one of the worst. I was working for Expedia, and you're in Seattle area, and that's where Expedia was based, but I was based in Hawaii. I was a concierge, which is really French for I will give you a really good time if you give me more money than you ever thought possible, because I'm really good at sales. So my job was to help them to figure out what's the best move. Do we want to stay only on this island, or should we go to another one? How about helicopters? How about swimming with sharks? Love my life. I got to do everything for free. And it was just great. One day on my day off, my husband and I were at the beach. We were coming home. We were at a stoplight, doing nothing wrong. I was a passenger holding a phone in my hand. I was texting to get the address of a book club where he was dropping me. Out of nowhere, there came this giant SUV slammed into us. We hit another SUV, two other cars. So it was the news at 10, 5-car pileup. Our car was totaled, and so was I. I did the major whiplash, and my hand flew up and whacked me in the head with that phone. So I ended up with a hole in my head. So that was a traumatic brain injury. The muscles that hold up my eyelids dropped. So they thought I had an aneurysm. I just had the third and hopefully last surgery to correct that. That was in 2015, and I'm still dealing with that. When you have a concussion that severe, it rips the filter off of your brain. And when you're dealing with tourists or anybody in a face-to-face, filters are our friends. That means you don't say what you want to say when they're unhappy, when it rains, when they miss their connection, all those things that happen that cause them to be less than gracious. But you don't get to be less than gracious in return. But when you don't have a filter, it's really tough. I was on commission. I did extremely well for the company and for myself. But if you can't do your job, you don't get paid. You don't get paid. You don't get the nice things in life. Oh, like food, clothing, housing. I made more than my husband. And it was obvious that I could not sustain my life. I was insanely suicidal. I had 6 doctor's appointments a week. I worked. I went home. I Googled, what is the best way to kill myself?
Oh my God.
What pills should I take in which order so I die and not a vegetable? That was my life for about 18 months. Finally, I realized I can't do this. My son was in Wisconsin. He had gotten his first big boy job as an attorney in Oshkosh with zero research whatsoever. We just moved. We came for a week. We looked at 30 houses. We chose one, and we moved. And never moved from Hawaii to Wisconsin in March because there's no sun. And if you're depressed before, you're really depressed now. And, I just started telling the story. I think time will allow me to, because it's a big story. But, he worked and we only had one car, and I was too terrified to drive. So I would take him to work in a different town, meaning I sat in the passenger seat, but I was too terrified to get on the highway. So I would just go to the mall, or I'd see a movie, or I would read a book, and I'd waste away 10 hours waiting for him to be done. And that was my life. I didn't know soul. And I decided I need to start building a life. So I stayed at home one day, and by now it's July, and I'm going to walk downtown. I'm going to explore. I'm going to see. My doctor had said, get a dog. The dog is going to help. I said, I don't do dogs. I cannot even keep myself alive, let alone a dog. I don't do dogs. So as I'm walking on my street, the post office. I had never heard of something called EAA, which is the Experimental Aircraft Association. For that 1 week in the year, Oshkosh is home to the largest or the busiest airport in the world. Last year, there were almost 700,000 people who came in that 1 week. So it's an aircraft show. But I didn't know that. My migraines are often noise-induced, smell-induced. And as I'm at the post office, walking right by it, I heard what I now know was a flyover. So loud, it triggered a migraine and a panic attack. I didn't know what was going on. In my brain, those were Nazis. And I was London, and I thought I was in a blitz. And I began to cry, and I had a panic attack. People walked into the post office, no one stopped. People walked out, no one stopped. People drove by, no one stopped. And I cried, and my legs gave out, and I sat on the hot July concrete, about 90 degrees, sobbing, and not one person helped me.
Wow.
And I got up, and I walked home the 2 blocks, and I lay on the couch, and the movers had broken the couch, so it's on 3 legs. And I said, people in Oshkosh take care of their dogs better than they take care of people. I can't do this. And that's not true. It isn't true, but it was my truth at that time. So I decided, you know what? I'm going to adopt a dog. I'm going to name my dog Xanax. because it will be like all the pills I throw away. And when I die, my husband will have a dog because he was a dog lover. I said, so at least he won't be alone. I had bought a brand new set of very expensive kitchen knives. Now, my husband thought it was to cook because I do cook. I bought those knives to kill myself.
Oh my God.
I had planned it, and this was the day. The movers were awful, and the movers lost the box with the knives. The box.
Oh, thank God.
I could not be less.
That's
So
yeah. I just want to say, along with all your credibility of all your achievements, everything you've achieved, you are also an absolutely amazing storyteller. Just so you know, I mean, extraordinary storyteller you are
oh,
because you have me hanging on every word.
oh, thank you.
You're
Well, if you go to my website, kornelia.com, you'll see my brand is storyteller, coconut's mom, reluctant gardener.
excellent.
That's what I
So,
do. So
yeah.
anyway, I did adopt that dog.
Okay,
He,
hold on. Hold
yes.
on. I just want to ask, usually when we have just like a minute and a half left, I want to be able to send the audience, for those that are listening, that are not watching, but that are listening. Let's go to your website, the handles again, slowly. And also, if you are on social media, where can people find you?
So my website is Carmen Leal. That's Leal.com. Super easy to find. Um, I've got a Facebook dog rescue page, facebook.com/rescue more dog. So that's a community I'm building to
That's
share
good. So,
information. So that would be the easiest way to find me, those two
So
places.
basically, audience, if you're listening to this and if you're curious about a dog, if this is sparking any interest for you, I'm curious about it myself. So yeah, we should all go check out your Facebook page at the community that you're creating rescue dogs. I mean, the fact that you rescued over 6,500 dogs, there's more to the story, but we're going to have you back
Well, I'm
because
glad. Yeah.
yeah, we're going to have you back and so that you can, go deeper into the story. Now, you said you have a book handy
I
right there.
do.
Let's tell the
Most important is to let people know always have hope.
yeah.
Changes that happen in your life, there don't have to be permanent. And
What's
so
the
what
name
I
of the book,
do,
Carmen?
it's called, here we go. The new book is called When Love Wags a Tail.
Oh, that's beautiful.
And so it's a book of rescue dog stories from people all over the country. And I donate a big portion of this to one specific rescue dog community so that they can take that money and help people. And I always want to tell people I don't do it for the dogs. I do it for people like me, for autistic people, for PTSD people, for vets. Because if we keep murdering dogs because they're inconvenient, when I would need a dog, it wouldn't be there. I can't afford $5,000.
Yeah. So
But the
with
dogs
that,
get it.
yeah,
Yes.
I love that. Congratulations to all of your
Thank you.
success and
Thank you.
continued health and well-being. And thank you for doing that good work in the world. We're going to take a break on the Cornelia Stephanie
And
Show.
thank you so much. Thank you.
Welcome back, everyone. Our next guest today is Reverend Corby Mitleid. She's a certified tarot master, psychic medium, teacher, and ordained minister. Corby Mitleid has been reading for 50 years, and she's a full-time intuitive counselor with clients worldwide. Robert Schwartz, I love Robert Schwartz, features her work as a channel and past life expert in his breakthrough series on karma and pre-birth planning. Your soul's plan, your soul's gift, and your soul's love. Welcome to the show today, Reverend Corby Mitleid.
Corby is all you need, and it's great to be here.
So good. What got you started on your journey?
30-second elevator speech. When I was 9, I read a book called The Witch Family by Eleanor Estes. I said, there's magic in the world. I wanted to go find it. Fast forward to 1973 when I was a senior in high school. And yes, that tells you how old I am. Spencer Gifts had the James Bond 007 tarot deck, and I bought it because we were all hippies then. For 20 years, I read for friends, loved what the decks told me. All of a sudden in the early 90s, I could do hands-on healing and talk to dead people, which was the universe handing me my draft notice. Hello, you're working for us. Did it part-time until 9/11, when I looked at my husband and I said, I need to do the work full-time. People need to know there are other answers out there. He said, I believe in you, go do it. And that's where it's been for 20 years and more.
How exciting. That's so awesome to ask the questions, to have the experiences, and to be led in the way that you were. And now you've been helping thousands and thousands of people. As a matter of fact, somebody's coming to mind right now in my own circle of community here that wants a tarot reading. So I should send them your way.
Yes.
Yes. So what is it that people can expect when they have a tarot reading with you? Do they come in with questions? Go ahead.
I encourage them to come in with questions, because that way I can use less time. I downsell myself. The less time you have to purchase with me, the better for both of us. And I can focus right on what you need, because I do tend to do what I call deep dish readings. For instance, if you said, I'd like to open up a business, is it going to be successful? I would say, wrong question. Always ask, how do I make it take off? And then a card for you, a card for the energy around the business, the brick and mortar location, how to market it, clients, competition, staff, finances, what you need to know, and best possible outcome. That's because I've read for 50 years. I know how to give you deep dish, because we are not in control of your lives. Guys, when you go into a tarot reading, you want to come out with information that helps you make your life what you want. You do not want someone to go, oh, there's a family curse. How many in your family will I have a $600 candle? That happens to you, my darlings, walk out.
Yes. Yes. So a 30-minute tarot reading with you will give a person quite a few deep insights. Is that right?
Yes, but it won't necessarily be 30 minutes of tarot. Might be numerology, might be past life retrieval, it might be talking to your guides. I'm a general practitioner. When you sit down with me, the first thing I say to you is, what is the most important stuff you want to walk out of here knowing? That tells me which tool, that tells me how to direct. It's just like going into a doctor. You don't say, I hurt, fix it. You say, I have a headache, my knee is crunchy, whatever. And then he knows, scalpel, shot, x-ray.
That's good. I like the clarity. Obviously you've been doing this for a long time. Obviously you
Yes.
have. Yeah, it's clear. So it's interesting because um I don't know why that popped in my mind, but it did. So,
Anyway.
right, you remember Sylvia Brown.
Yes, yes.
Okay. So back in the day, I did have a reading with Sylvia a long time ago in person and also her son. But back in the day, I remember when Sylvia was when she was talking about she had made a statement, and this one statement alone changed everything for me. It was very interesting. And the statement was, we choose our parents, right?
Absolutely, we do.
Okay. Well, when she made that statement, it shattered my paradigm entirely, and everything changed from that point. And so it's very, very interesting. So I appreciate the work that you're doing, and even, the work with Robert Schwartz. I love his
Yes,
work.
yes,
Incredible, incredible. So, again, speaking of the lives that we're born into, we are designing it on the back end before we even come
yes,
in. Is that right?
yes, yes. And for everyone who says, did I really have a past life? I just kind of look at them over the glasses and say, you think you're smart enough to get it done with one? No, we have to have more than that to learn what we need to learn.
Yeah, yeah. Currently, I'm going through a big, huge change. And I feel like I'm closing a lot of chapters in my life personally. And
Mhm.
there was definitely even some grief around all the things. Like it almost feels like, there's certain, like almost like I'm retiring in a certain kind of way, like in a
Yeah.
retirement thing, and I'm closing chapters, and like I'm coming to the end of the road.
Okay. I would be interested to see what your numerology is. I'm not going to ask publicly. You need your
Okay.
privacy. But the way I figure out numerology for the year, I take your month and day. Let's say it's March 8th. That's 3 plus 8 is 11. This year's master number is an 8. 2 plus 0 plus 2 plus 4 is 8. 11 plus 8 is 19. 1 plus 9 is 10. 1 plus 0 is 1. Get it down to the single number. I would say that you're in a 1 year this year. It's fresh energy. Last year was your 9 year system dump. You got rid of everything in your life that was busted that you'll never fix. Outgrown, wasn't you in the first place. This is the year you plant seeds. That's why I say in a reading with me, I will use any tool on the clock. But if you don't mind,
Yeah.
this is my Osho Zen deck. It is
I love, yeah.
very good for philosophy. And upstairs nudged me, please pull 3 cards for her.
Okay.
So you're looking at endings, you're looking at closed doors, and this is the why. Number 1, the card is breakthrough. In order to move forward, there are some things that have kind of ossified in your life, like petrified wood, and they have to be broken through. Number 2, postponement. My darling, you've put this off for too long. And the universe is now saying, hello, we have taken charge of your calendar. You're not allowed to erase anything. And third, you're going to learn to go with the flow, because as you do this, there'll be some crossroads. There'll be some, where am I supposed to go? And what I'm going to tell you is be a leaf, not a salmon. What does that mean? Salmon say, I have to go up there, and they fight, and they get there, and then they die. A leaf would go, I guess I'm going this way, get all the way down to the end of a different place. And the leaf is fine. It's taken its little pictures and written its postcards. When we're leaves, not salmons, we go with the flow, and we go where the universe knows we're going to find our best, most practical, and most adventuresome life.
So good. So good. I totally feel that. I feel the breakthrough. Oh, what was the second card? What was the second
card? Was postponement. You can't put it off now.
Yeah, I was recently told by someone else that came on the show that basically on the astrology level is that I've been called if I so choose, right? It's that energy. And I do feel the piece of letting go and being a leaf. I'd much rather be a leaf than be the warrior that I was, charging up ahead. I have
it's great in our 20s and 30s, but I'm just a few months away from 70. Been there, done that, sold that franchise.
Yes. And you look amazing, by the way.
Thank you, but 2 magic words, no children. Takes 10 years off your looks right there.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well, I don't have children either, but I do feel that I have given birth to many children, many projects, many things, in addition to parenting myself. That has been my job.
Yes, right there with you.
Right.
But, ideas and things, they don't borrow the car, break a window, need an allowance. It's much simpler.
Totally. Yeah. And we are heading in for Mother's Day weekend. And I want to just say happy Mother's Day to all of you out there that do have children. I think that being a mother is one of the most important jobs we could ever have.
Absolutely. Which is why if you don't feel it, you can't send them back to the pound. Be that fabulous aunt that comes in and answers all those questions and gives them things to think about, but leave mothering to those for whom it is a gorgeous opportunity.
I was on the phone this morning with my niece, and I was that fabulous aunt. Absolutely. So I can totally resonate. What do you want to say to the audience in the short amount of time that we have left? I also want to give everyone your social media handles of how they can find you and book a reading with you for with all your tools that you have.
Okay. Number 1, I am here in service. I take my work seriously, but me not so much. So when you work with me, yes, you will probably laugh. I've done stand-up comedy about you think a psychic's life is easy. But when you've read 30,000 people in your lifetime, which I have, there's nothing you're going to bring me that I can't handle that I won't work with you for. And for those of you who particularly have never been to an intuitive and want to know what to do, this book right here, I wrote it for you, The Psychic Yellow Brick Road, How to Find the Real Wizards and Avoid the Flying Monkeys. It is literally how to find a good psychic and what to do when you start working.
Yes. And your social media handles?
You can't avoid me. Corby Mitleid is the website. Corby Mitleid is Instagram. Corby Mitleid Fire Through Spirit is Facebook. Corby Midlight is YouTube and Patreon.
So good. I'm so glad you came on the show today. You're so fun. You're so fun. I can just feel your energy. It's very fun, and your gifts are extraordinary that you've cultivated and developed. Uh, what was I going to ask? What was I going to ask? What's next for you? Carrying on with what you're doing?
Yes, and actually doing a shift. I mean, I say that I'm an elder, not a boomer. And so how I work, the direction that I go, and how I put my energy out in the world is going to shift. I am in a 1 year this year. So I'm saying, okay, universe, bring it on.
There it is. Thank you, Corby Mitlight, for coming on the show today. I really appreciate you and hope to see you again in the future.
A pleasure, and I'd love it.
Okay, everyone, we're going to take a break and we'll be right back on the Cornelia Stephanie Show. What an awesome show we're having today, everyone. I just love our guests. My next guest today is Guy Dazin. He is an academic playwright, writer, poet, painter, educator, and podcaster. He holds 2 degrees in English literature and art history. He teaches English in the preparatory school of the University of Bar Ilan.
Bar Ilan.
Bar Ilan. Okay. I've written several poetry books. He's written several poetry books and plays, and he's currently presenting his paintings in 2 different exhibitions. He has a deep affinity to esotericism and mysticism, from the Kabbalah to Taoism and Freemasonry to Gnosticism. And of course, we're going to talk about some of these core practices and concepts here today. Welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much, Kornelia, for having me. It is a pleasure.
Well, my goodness. So, here you are expressing yourself in such creative and amazing ways. And then you have your practices that you've learned over the course of the year. But tell us about what happened, who you were before you were all of this, who you are now.
Yeah, so I'm Guy Dazin. I'm from Israel. I originate from Israel, born and raised. But as you can tell, my accent is a little, more polished, more less, more better, than most Israelis. But I'm not casting any aspersions on Israelis or stuff like that. But I'm trying to talk about my personal story. So as a kid, I suffered from acute asthma in my formative years that, impacted my schoolwork, attendance, my social life as a kid. I was isolated from a lot of my peers in my group, my age group. And so I had, to learn to be by myself, and that kind of the solitary rumination, gave way to thinking about deeper ideas, manifested in different cosmic principles and mysticism. And I used to go and, solitary and meditate in isolation. It was a kind of biblical scene. I would go, into an open field, and I found kind of a tree that its roots sprang out of a rock, and that seemed like a miracle to me. So I sort of sanctified, that tree, and I would use to go and sit under the tree and kind of meditate and look at the skies and the clouds and sort of try to interpret, different images of the cosmos. I ruminate or philosophize over, big ideas, core questions in philosophy, humanity, society, as answers, questions that do not have a definitive answer. They are kind of, left to linger, in obscurity and oblivion. And, lying in waiting for us to find them. I think personally.
Wow. So you are, I love how you set that up. So you are a deep thinker and a reflectionist, like doing lots of contemplation and reflecting on, the meanings of things, right?
Kind of a highbrow topics, as this sort of stuff that a lot of people don't even bother, with their own lives. They just want to live an ordinary, quotidian, a linear existence, that doesn't require them to do a lot of deep searching and learning. They just want, to pave their path in life, with the yellow bricks, until they get to the promised land or whatever kind of destination or that they set for themselves, what they want to achieve in their own lives. So I think everybody has their own interpretation on some level about the universe, about the
God,
existence,
about God,
the existence of God, yes, or I don't know. That I'm sort of tumbling around. I kind of levitate between or gravitate towards more rational kind of thinking with the scientific method that I acquired in university and university studies that has a very rigorous process, the vetting process and the peer review system is not bulletproof, but it's not foolproof entirely, but it's a very good system that's implemented,
What's your vision for the world? What's your vision for our evolution? What's your vision for?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's a great question. So some people, I call them the technocrats or, the uber oligarchies, monopolies that are trying, to build this post-human society that integrates, into its finer details, human kind of aspects. So humanity needs to exist in order to fuel artificial machines and systems that will be put in place. So, there's that kind of vision, but on the other hand, on the other side of the spectrum, there are people who think that AI technology and, humanity could, come to a kind of event horizon from which, the integration of man and machine will come to term. And then, society will move past this, past wars and hatred and, misunderstanding, a kind of a unified vision of humanity will be born out of the infusion of man and machine. So these kind of proto cybernetic android humans or post-humans, of course, they will never try anything on themselves. It's very dangerous because it's not proven. Anything that is under the scrutiny of human, experimentation, it's highly illegal and highly immoral. Yeah.
So, what is your vision for our evolution?
Okay, so I'll give you a very simple answer. In my opinion, there are only, two ways out of this maze, this labyrinth that humanity has constructed for itself for, hundreds and thousands of years, ever since the advent of, the sentient human. So,
Two ways out. Two ways out.
two ways out, of course. One is to break away, try to terraform Mars or a nearby planet that is habitable, to humans, carbon-based life forms. Or the other the other end of the spectrum is to try to create some kind of unified vision. We need to bring on people who are oligarchies and monopolists. They think that we need to create the new Messiah. We need to create that unifying factor. So, is it artificial? Is it human-based? We simply don't know. But in both cases, it involves some sort of technology. And the advent of this very intricate and complex system and technology that will be put in place needs to be a suitable, substitute for our current condition. And it requires a lot of, thinking minds, a hive mind that can persuade, the population to buy into this new system that will govern, society, human behavior, will provide all the necessary resources, materials, and needs for humanity to go on. So those are the kind of two ways that you can think about it.
Yeah.
Vision for the future.
Yeah, I think good discussion. I want to be able to, in just a few seconds, let the audience know how they can look you up on social media. Deep thinker, I like your unified vision for us moving forward in a unified way. What is your social media handles where people can look you up?
Yeah, so on Facebook, I have my Facebook group for my podcast. It's called Thoth Described Podcast. Thoth was an ancient Egyptian deity, governing wisdom, healing. He was an astronomer. He was the patron saint of the scribe, in Christian terms. So I'm on YouTube with my podcast. I also recite poems on my YouTube channels. I have also podcasts about cinema and about religion. So I do all that stuff. You can find me on Facebook or LinkedIn. I also commission portraiture. So I do portraits in chalk and ink, mainly, monochromatic, imaginary portraits, not portrayals of real humans. But if you would like me to, execute this or, commission a real portrait, I have no qualms about it. I'm quite skillful, but, I'm not the best. So
you are multi-talented in your creativity and your expression. Glad you're doing the work that you're doing. Thank you.
And there's a book coming out. Hopefully we'll get it English translation by the end of this fiscal year.
Guy does in. Thank you so much for coming on the show. We're going to take a break.
Thank you so much, Kornelia.
We're going to end our podcast today, the Kornelia Stephanie Show, Stories of Hope, with Rhodes Blake. She's a devoted wife, mother, and passionate wedding photographer that's based in Phoenix, Arizona. Her approach to photography goes beyond simply taking pictures. She believes that in building genuine connections with her clients and taking the time to get to know them, her journey as an entrepreneur, juggling the roles of a mother and wife, has been far from smooth, at the same time rewarding. Life is all about taking risks, embracing second chances, and extending forgiveness, a journey that continuously shapes her personal life and business. And now, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So I love that you want to connect with your clients when you're doing the photos, when you're taking pictures, your wedding photography. I love hearing that because, it's not just anything. It's like, no, you want to have a connection. You want to know what their essence is. You want to know who they are, right? Is that
Yes.
your purpose behind that?
Yes. And for example, like, yes, they are hiring me for a service, but at the end of the day, it's about them. So the more I'm able to connect with them and the more that I know about them, their personality, I'll be able to pretty much capture that incense. So for example, like every client, I send them a questionnaire, and the questionnaire kind of go deeper. It's not just like, hey, what do you like? What's your favorite color? Things like that. It goes deeper as like, hey, do you have any insecurity about your physical appearances? Because the one thing I don't want to do is if I'm giving them a pose or if they're not comfortable with hugging or touching hands or things like that. So I want to be aware of that so I can make the experience for them more joyful. And when they get the pictures, they be able to kind of like have that experience.
I think a key word for you in this is customize also. You're customizing exactly for what the client wants because you do get to know them, and it is a customization of exactly what the client wants. A lot of times it's just the standard. This is the standard, this is the standard, but you are customizing. So I appreciate that about you straight away.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, I mean, I feel like every client is different. We're all different. The person that I was last year is not the person that I am now. And
Right.
yeah, and for each wedding, each client, depending on the theme or where they're having their wedding or what they want to focus on. So everybody's different. So you can't have a package or an experience that's for every single person because what works for one person may not work for somebody else. So that's why I like to make each customizable. And that's why I like to get to know them deeper on a deeper level to really see like who they are as a person, so their wedding day, they can have that full experience. So when they look back 10 years through their wedding photo, they can relive that same experience over and over again.
So good. It's got to be such a fun job. It's got to be a fun job.
It
Yeah.
is. I absolutely love it. It gets wedding planning is stressful in general, but I love it. I love doing it, and I love seeing their faces when they actually put their dresses on, or the family gets to, share the wedding day with them, and so it's fun.
It's a big deal. It's a big deal. And having a professional, a person that knows, that customized everything based on who you are, what your preferences are. It's important that to people, because these are memories that are going with you. And so many times I've heard from people saying, "Oh, our photographer was terrible," or they didn't. I hear that.
Yeah.
Someone just came to mind actually. Um, so you're also an entrepreneur, you're a wife, you're a mother, you're doing life and business. And so as an entrepreneur, did you ever come to a place of where you wanted to give up?
Yes, a lot of time actually, because if you just think about it, entrepreneur, it's not like the microwavable world that we live in now to where like everything is instant. So with entrepreneur, like it needs time. It's more of like a snowball effect. So you can, especially when it comes to marketing or and booking clients, and sometimes you can put something out there, nobody responds, or somebody doesn't like it and things like that. So I feel like with entrepreneur or even as a mom, I'm a new mom. I've only been a mom for like 4 years now, and I have three little ones. So a lot
Wow.
of time is just learning, you know? And so that's the same thing with entrepreneur, is just making those mistakes. And for me, like my thing is mistakes are not mistakes if you learn from them. So if you do something and it completely fails, then at least you know that, like, hey, that wasn't time wasted. Now the next time I try, I know what to do. So it's pretty much like not giving up and just keep trying and keep trying, and sooner or later you'll just get, like, your skills will develop more and you'll get better and better. It's like trying with anything new. You don't automatically know how to do it, but as time go on, and if you don't give up, you eventually get better. And that's why I love, second chances, because we all deserve second chances, and there's always second chances in life as long as you keep going. But if you just quit, then you kind of gave up at the first try. But if you keep going, you will see that reward.
Yeah, I like how you set it up with the you know, um to keep going, because at first you really don't know what to do. At first you don't know. And it's kind of like the analogy of you're just starting a new job per se, and the phone rings and you've never answered the phone before. So at first you don't know what to say or how to say it. Are you saying it properly? And then um, you learn how to answer it. You learn how to answer the phone. And the main message that I hear you saying is don't give up, because don't you think also that through the learning and through the not knowing and through the challenges, like you put something out there and you do this and you're not getting a response, or somebody doesn't like something or whatever, through all of those are all uh, stepping stones, building blocks, to help you uh, fine tune your craft, fine tune the way you answer the phone.
Yes, yeah. I mean, even if you think about it, building a house, the foundation. Like, if we want to build a business, or if we want to build a life that's sustainable and that will pass through time, like, you have to have a strong foundation. So it's just taking that time to build it right. And I usually say, if something fails, it's better you fail at something in the beginning stage, then later on, halfway through, then everything comes down, then you have to rebuild. So it's better to fail in the beginning and lay the foundation properly, so you can build on the house, so it can last.
Yeah, this is such good advice. It's so true. I'm celebrating the fact that it is Mother's Day this weekend. You are a young mother, and happy Mother's Day to you.
Well, thank you
And
so much.
also, I just think it's so awesome, the kind of mother that you are, with the wisdom and the knowledge that you have, and also being an entrepreneur, and the modeling and the guiding that you're doing in raising your children of the things that's important, in building the foundation of the house, to not give up. Um, a mother that's truly there and is learning and growing, and, at the same time building a business,
Yes.
and being a wife can't be easy.
Not at all, but it's rewarding. That's with everything in life. If it was easy, then would it actually be worth it, or would it mean something? No.
Totally. Yeah, yeah. Let's tell the audience how they can look you up on social media, and how they can find out more about your photography or website or social media.
Yeah, well, thank you. Yeah, so my social media, in my website, is Rhodes Blake Photography. So it's RHODES, and then Blake, BLAKE Photography. And in my website, it's the same thing, rhodesblakephotography.com. And you guys can follow me there. And I share a lot of tips and tricks to helping you plan a stress-free wedding as possible.
Yeah. And how is it that clients find you? Like, do they hear about you through your word of mouth, your people, from previous weddings that you've done? How do people connect with you in that way?
They connect with me through, like, Google, just kind of like a Google search, and then Facebook, and of course social media as well. I'm very active on social media, and also word of mouth. I have wonderful clients.
Oh, that's so good. It's so nice. I mean, when you're building those kinds of relationships, you become the family photographer. It may just be weddings, but then other people get married, and then somebody says, "Oh, I know somebody," and that's so
Yes.
great. So great. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show today. I really appreciate that you came on and shared your gifts with us.
No, thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure, my honor.
Good, good, good. Thank you, everybody, for listening and tuning into the Cornelia Stephanie Show. We'll see you again next Friday, everyone. Take care.
You've been listening to the Cornelia Stephanie Show, Wake Up to Love, your call to action. Tune in each week on Transformation Talk Radio. Cornelia's joy is to engage others in practical ways, showing us how to live in the new earth in harmony with our true nature. For more information on Kornelia and her extraordinary work, or to listen to past shows, go to her website at corneliastephanie.com.